You're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Green Bay Packers content. Created for the fans by the fans. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Packers_access. Go Pack Go. Enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Going live just a little bit early. Me and Emilio got settled in. I'm sure Tim will be joining us shortly. He probably had prior plans, planning on us going live at 7 p.m. Central Time, but here we are. I know the chat's going to start filling up as people realize, oh, crap, they're live. So if you guys would, in the chat, we'll give them a second to get in here. We want to make sure we've got audio. Obviously, earlier this morning, StreamYard had a crashing issue with audio for anyone who was trying to stream, so it was definitely an issue. Chris in the house. Chris, do me a favor, buddy. Confirm that you can hear us speaking if you don't care. And in the meantime, let's give a quick shout out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since '92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source. Offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Click on the link in the video description to send you to their website, theticketking.com. You can register as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that is Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. I think Chris confirmed. Is that right, Emilio?
Yes, he did. Yep. So it's all good on his end.
Awesome.
Back
Good
to no more Kmart connection this morning, man. I was wondering what happened.
Bro, the chat was hilarious. We got a super chat because of it, too. They're like, hey, man, get better equipment. Here's $2. I don't know what $2 is going to get us, but we appreciate the
upgrade the cables or something.
Yeah, something. How was your day, Bob? You doing all right?
Good, yeah. Doing mulch job. Got 10 yards down. Got probably another 5 or 8 tomorrow, maybe, depending on how much the beds take up. You know, that's the commercials for you, though.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it, man. Let's do this. We're gonna hit on some pass rush tonight, guys. We went through and did our PFF evaluation of the entire roster. We were identifying needs that we need to focus on as we get into college playoff season here. And then obviously, as soon as the season's over, we want to kind of give everybody a jump on what we think the needs could possibly be, barring any crazy re-signing period that the Packers may or may not have. So we're going to hit on pass rush on the second half of this show. But before we do, let's go ahead and take a walk across Twitter here. Had all kinds of good stuff come down the pike yesterday and today. So let's just kind of hit on it. Matt Schneidman had tweeted out, Tucker Kraft assesses where the Packers are with 4 games left in the season. Here was Tucker Kraft meeting with the media at his locker.
Yeah, I'd say last game was a check for us because we had guys playing with, myself included, playing with aggression, but not necessarily, the best technique. There's a few times where I went in full head of steam trying to hit a guy, but my angles were off and I wasn't staying connected in my block, and that's a difference between tackle on the line of scrimmage versus a 6-8 explosive play. So going forward, I think we're gonna just take each game, as I say all the time, each game one game at a time, one play at a time, and in this next storm of games, we're gonna be locked in. We're gonna be energized. We're gonna bring that juice. We're gonna be locked into our technique, our assignment, our alignment. If we win the line of scrimmage, we win each game. So
it's so cool, man, seeing a young player as dynamic as Tucker Kraft is, stepping back. Listen, he's having, obviously it's just a second year in the league, but he's having a career year, right? We're going to continue to see that bar raise. Last I heard, he was second in the league, I think, amongst tight ends and touchdown catches. He was leading the league in yak yards over expected. And here you hear him saying, you know what, we need to step back and really focus on our technique. It's pretty darn cool when you hear a young player get that fired up over something, technical.
Yeah. No, exactly. And my thought was, hey, you have a tight end doing that. You have Jordan doing it. You have Matt doing it. You have the coaches doing it. But we need, it takes everyone to keep that enthusiasm throughout the locker room. I mean, you get there in the morning, you're doing your pre-stuff. Who do you see in the training room? Your buddy that you got one handshake with. Then you go over here. We're going into film room. You're with your tight end group. Everyone wants to eat in that group. Love that. All right, we're going out to team, bring the energy to the O-line who you haven't seen in an hour or two. Like, all that's going to add up And I do think that, being focused, having, maybe one in each area or a couple on the offense, couple on the defense, just to keep everyone in check. Sometimes your mind does slip a little. You're worried about that one bad play. You get your head stuck in a slump or something, and we just want to avoid that. Let's keep everybody positive, keep moving forward, because, those 4 losses are gone, right? They happened. It was against the best teams in the NFC. So it's nothing against us. We just need to keep working to get better to overcome that hump.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Tucker, I think he's going to be a dynamic player moving forward. He's only going to get better. The question is, can he stay healthy? And he's got to learn how to stay healthy and not take so many of those shots. You guys know last year the issue was he kept trying to hurdle everybody. Well, this last game, obviously, he had to hurdle Kirby Joseph because Kirby Joseph was trying to tear his freaking ACL. Right. So you just want to see him protect himself a little bit more, right? We know he's built like a Mack truck, but gotta play the long game for sure. Cannonball John in the house says, Ethan, I see the PTA IT department got you back up. That's right. They sure did.
See?
It's this guy right here. That's the
plane was running up the hill. You should have seen him just pulling a cable trying to get better service.
Yeah. I just said, you know what? Let's just steal the neighbor's Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Climb the tree.
No, it was a fiasco though. Seriously. Went to Twitter within 30 seconds, seeing everybody complaining about StreamYard. I was like, okay, it's not us. We're good. All right. As long as it ain't us. Drew D in the house said, by trading Preston, we freed up a lot of money to make a move in the off season. We really did. I'll tell you this though, man, as I pulled earlier today, I think I got the screen grab right here. We did free up money with Preston. There's no two ways about it. Look at this pressure percentage though. Preston Smith, I have to drop down that logo. Bang. Preston Smith sitting at 16.9% on the Steelers at quarterback pressure percent. To put that in perspective, that's 3% higher than Rashawn Gary, who leads the guy nearest to him by 3%. So Preston Smith, he's starting strong with Pittsburgh. There's no doubt about it. But we definitely freed up money. And again, we're getting LV in these much needed reps as well. Right. And by the end of the show, I think people are going to feel a lot better about Lucas Van Ness. We did some digging earlier today. You guys know we've hit on PFF. And again, what I like to do is cross-check that with other key statistics and kind of get an idea of, okay, is the PFF grade truly reflective of the results we're seeing on the field and vice versa? And we'll dive into all that. Let's see what else we got here.
And all I wanted to say to that was we also traded away our best corner. So that's another issue, man. When we dropped Preston, man, he was locked down.
That's right.
We lost that. A little pressure, a little corner play.
Definitely. Biz 1987 in the chat says, time for the Packers to refocus, to take care of business of who's in front of them. If they do that, they get another shot. Yeah, just gotta beat the team in front of you every week, no doubt.
Right.
Respect Oranges. The last time I came to Amelia, I'm gonna kill you.
I thought you said you wanted me to read them.
Right, go ahead, Emilio. Read that one.
Respect Oranges was just talking about how we had gone early on the show. We got here a little early, fired up the engine a little early. He said the last time I came this early, she was very disappointed. So in that aspect, respect Oranges. It's true.
Hey, we appreciate your honesty there. Respect Oranges. You're a good man. Kinda. Drew D in the chat. Packers still have a 97% chance to make the playoffs, so the loss didn't hurt our percentage at all. Really cool because we looked at with the playoff simulator, worst case scenario, what would happen. Nothing changed, but that's digging a little deeper what Drew's done here. 97% chance, obviously.
Right. That's what 32 per
65%. 65%. That's what.
It's 32%.
Very.
That's not a bad number right there. We'll take 97.
Very
compared to last year when we were happy that we got our fourth win.
Mm-hmm. Ron Samuel in the chat said, what is LVM pressure percentage since Preston was traded? I don't know that exact number. Someone tweeted out that there was like a combination of games. One of those games, he was over 20% pressure rate, which is just wild, right? So you're starting to see some of the upside. And again, we're going to hit on the pressure percentage here in a minute as we kind of dive into the pass rush and just how effective it's been. Pretty impressive. Really, when you look at it as a whole and everything that we talked about, just going off of strictly PFF, I feel a lot better about the edge room now after today and still feel exactly the same on that 3-tech. We need to go get a 3-tech as soon as possible for sure. So let's go back to Twitter real quick. A couple other things before we get into the pass rush talk. Wes Hockowitz had tweeted out, LaFleur says Jordan Love had an outstanding game for the Lions, cites his throw to Watson against Campbell's inside blitz. Quote, the more he plays, the better he gets. I think his mechanics have improved the last few weeks. We talked about that. The shot to Watson down the sideline, man, great platform, quick release, everything just looked freaking textbook. So It does feel like Jordan's really starting to amp up here, Emilio.
Right. And the hotter that Josh Jacobs gets, the easier it makes it on Jordan's life. And I think all that kind of just starts rolling downhill. You know, you weren't able to feed Reed this past game, but Christian Watson stepped up even after the fumble, tried to make up for his, amend the wrongs and everything. And I think he did, right? It happens. Yeah, he was flailing around. He tried to hop over the dude. It didn't work. Next time, I'm sure that's not going to happen. But yeah, I think that Jordan Love has definitely started to heat up. Perfect time too.
Yeah. Respect Oranges says Biz 1987 says Respect Oranges. This is a family show, sir.
That's true.
So yeah, we're going to have to hit you with one of these if you keep that up. You hear me? Let's see where it's at here. I know it's in here somewhere.
Sit your butt outside.
Go. All right. Straighten up, Respect Oranges. Matt Schneidman tweeted out injury updates from Matt LaFleur. Javon Bullard with the ankle is week to week. Kind of surprised me, Emilio. Dude was on crutches in the locker room, right? So that's good news. Romeo Dobbs and Evan Williams still in concussion protocol. That doesn't surprise me, seeing that we've got a long week here, right? Or we had a long week, rather. Dontavion Wicks is fine, so he's good to go. Anything you want to add to that? Obviously, with Javon Bullard, when you heard he was on crutches in the locker room, you immediately think at least IR. It sounds like we dodged a bullet there, man.
Yeah, and that's crutches. What he had a boot on too, so I think that's we're lucky that it wasn't something worse. I wouldn't plan to see him until probably after the Saints game. Give him this Sunday, give him next pass to next Monday, and then go from there just to play it safe. I mean, if we're going to put him out there, we don't want to put him out there 60 or 70% just because we need a guy. I mean, we can get a couple more reps for Zane, or we can do something else. Run more base, bring out another back, or all that. So I'm not mad at that. Romeo, I'm a little worried. I just hope he's all right. I want him to get out of there. I know he got kind of popped, and same with Wicks. Happy he's all right. He took a leg.
Yeah. And so as far as Javon Bullard, again, his coverage has been very, very suspect this year. But man, we continue to see him on tape in the running game. The Quay Walker run stop. I can't remember if that was a fourth down. I think it was a fourth down run. Yeah. So it was like fourth and short. They were going for it. Quay Walker gets the stop, gets the tackle. But man, the way Javon Bullard, you guys have heard me say it feels like 100 times this week. The way he shot the gap, knew to play with leverage outside to force the back in towards the teeth of the defense. How many times we would have seen someone like Darnell Savage shoot to the inside, give him the outside, and it's a first down, right? There's so much to that many people don't talk about, and it took me forever to learn that about the game, is playing the right shoulder, playing the correct shoulder, I should say, of the ball carrier, knowing where your help is just absolutely huge. So It's cool that as a young player, he's got that kind of pursuit awareness.
Exactly. Got to get your head to the outside, try to cut off anything wide. Your help's always inside, always looking to funnel. And thinking about Javon, what if it's something where, we asked him to play safety, then we asked him right away to learn how to play nickel. Now he's playing nickel, kind of likes it, but then let's pick one thing to get him better at. And I think that maybe they chose something that he's already pretty decent at. It's run and tackling. Let's keep him good at that. We'll start chipping away at his coverage, whatever we need to do to fix his coverage things. And it's just, how Rodgers used to pick one thing in the offseason to work on. Maybe they're just trying to pick one thing this season. He just came out of he had to go through we talked about, got to go through all that combine stuff, got to come through the draft. You don't really get an off season. You're reading a book. You're trying to get the playbook, all that, new coach. So I'm excited for all these rookies coming into next year, but cannot be mad at the way Javon's been playing, especially having to move him a couple different places.
Yeah. And obviously Josh Jacobs is arguably the best player on this team this year. We talked about he's grading out as the third best running back in the league, within 2 points PFF grade wise of the top 2 backs in the league, which is Saquon Barkley going for the rushing record, and then also Derrick Henry, right? So with that being said, Matt Schneidman had tweeted this out. Josh Jacobs' biggest fan in Green Bay might be Rich Bisaccia, who coached Jacobs with the Raiders. Bisaccia already knew what Jacobs was all about on and off the field. Now everyone in Green Bay is seeing it too. And we got a couple of quotes here Quote, off the field, he's got a tremendous sense of people, Bisaccia said recently. He's got a character about him that can understand, have empathy for other people's stories and other things that they've been through. And so when he sits in somebody's locker or is in the cafeteria, he's been through an ordeal himself growing up homeless. So I think he has the ability to relate to a lot of different things that players may go through. It says, as far as football goes, I still think we're just scratching the surface with Josh Jacobs. In this building, we're all just learning about what the young man's makeup is. He is a real deal running back. He's built to carry the ball. He's built to catch it. He's built to protect, and he loves football. He loves the grind of practice. He loves the grind of mental preparation. He loves the grind of playing in games. What you see from him in games is the way he practices. That's the way he practiced when we were together before, and that's the way he practices now. And I think because of the example he set in practice, they have gotten a certain amount of respect for him and for what he's going to do in the game. So, again, your teammates are always watching. You can fake fans out. You can fake knucklehead fans like us out every day, right? It happens all the time. But you cannot fake your teammates out. You can't fake those guys out in the locker room, right? You just can't do it. They've got to know that you mean what you say and say what you mean all the time. And Josh Jacobs is that dude. There's no two ways about it. So pretty cool hearing high praise from Rich Bisaccia. We got Tim joining us now. Tim, I don't know how much of that you heard. Did you hear that entire thing from Josh Jacobs there?
Just about, yeah, for sure.
Okay. It's pretty cool, man, to hear Bisaccia actually pull the curtain back a little bit and talk about him in the cafeteria, talk about him on the practice field, talk about how he's been through some hard times growing up and how he relates to the younger players on the team is just really cool, man.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And, you can tell that, Rich had a big hand in bringing Josh Jacobs into this organization. And, we know Josh could have probably signed with a lot of teams. There's a reason he probably leaned towards Green Bay, and, he's a Packer now. So shout out to Coach B. Thank you.
Yeah. And also, Emilio, he's the reason that Keyshawn Nixon is pretty much a Green Bay Packer too, it sounds like, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, brings that kind of mentality. I know we were on him. We haven't been happy with it completely. We had kicker talk, all that. We've been through all the phases of it. So, just what a guy he is, talking about how true Josh Jacobs is as a person, and being able to bring in Keyshawn, keep him in, say, hey, I'm here for Rich, and he wants to hang around, even if it's not your coach, right? I mean, you could be playing offense and Jeff Hafley could be your favorite coach, right? You could hate Matt just because of what he makes, Monday what he makes you do, but Hafley's your best friend. You can tell him anything, ask him questions and all that, and that it just kind of happens on a team. I love how great of a person Josh is, really.
Yeah, no doubt. Rel in the chat says Seahawks defense since their Week 10 bye has allowed 15.5 points per game. Really cool nugget there. Jason Y in the chat said, what does it say about our drafting that our two best players were acquired through free agency ? I think that's a fair point. When you look at how our best players on this roster came through free agency, at least our two most recent ones.
Right.
We know the draft's a crapshoot. We know that, right? It's pretty cool, though, that when Goody takes a swing in free agency, think of all the free agents he signed. And he's signed quite a few big-name free agents. Who has he signed that we go, man, he really missed on that free agent? I can't think of one. I could be wrong, but I can't think of one. Recently, Xavier McKinney, freaking home run, right? A++. Josh Jacobs, right? That was this offseason. Absolute home run. If you go back to when he signed Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, home run, had one of the best pass rushes that year, right? It just seems like when he takes swings in free agency, now he might not be as aggressive as some people would want him to be, but when he takes swings, he knows what he's got. And I think that really has a lot to do with you've got these players on NFL footage as opposed to just the college game, right? So you're getting a true scouting assessment of these players and how they play against these current NFL players. So I think it's cool. All right, let's see what else we got here. I can't remember what's the next tweet. I've been tweeting out some NFL footage, so I got to be careful what we have on the screen here. This was a really cool quote. This just shows Tucker Kraft maturing. Matt Schneidman tweeted out, Tucker Kraft was asked today about his pregame incident with Kirby Joseph. Quote, I'm going to drop it, actually. It's over. It's done. Just going to move on from that. Not going to stoop down there anymore. I'm not going to talk about our opponents anymore. I'm just going to talk about us because the only thing that matters is the guys in this locker room. So it's pretty cool to see Tucker getting a little more mature there in that regard.
Yeah.
And I personally like that approach. I don't know about you guys.
No, I love it. Don't get don't argue with idiots. They'll drag you to that level and beat you at it, right? So don't get caught up in this hype with these trash talking guys from the Lions, guys that have no idea how to act as winners because they haven't really been in that position before. So they get caught up in the extracurriculars and all that nonsense. And I think that was some of the most valuable lessons we learn in life are the ones we learn the hard way or learn them real time in person. And I think this game against the Lions was an eye opener for Tucker Kraft, and I think a lot of guys on this team. And he's got the right attitude, right? Worry about the guy next to you, the guy in front of you, guy behind you. That's who matters. You're playing for this team, this town, this organization, and that's where your priorities need to be. And that way you keep a close knit bond with that locker room that you have because guys stick together, and you're not worried about all that outside noise. And you take that power away from an opponent that's trying to get in your head and talk a little razzle dazzle, trying to knock you off your game. If you're not trying to hear it, and you're focused on, next man up and the guy to my left and the guy to my right, that's how you win championships, man. You stick together, and it's strength in numbers. So I love that attitude personally. I think it's great.
Yeah, and I think there's a time and place for chirping, absolutely. But, you do it in between plays when the refs aren't looking and all that, and then you go out there and just show them on the scoreboard is really the only way to make them shut up indefinitely. Yep.
Yeah. So Rob Demovsky actually tweeted this out. I quote tweeted it and put, "It's officially could clinch season, and I'm here for it." All right. So we're going to hear more and more about that every week as we get closer to the playoffs. What Rob said was the Packers can clinch a playoff spot this week. All right. NFC clinched. Detroit playoff berth, Philadelphia playoff berth. Green Bay 9-4 at Seattle, who is 8-5. That's going to be Sunday night. It says Green Bay clinches a playoff berth with a Green Bay win plus an Atlanta loss or a tie plus San Francisco LA Rams tie. So really what you're
Playoffs?
what you're looking for here is a Green Bay win and an Atlanta loss, and we pretty much clinch a playoff spot. That's pretty darn cool, man. We got, you're talking about after this week having 3 more games. And if you could clinch a playoff berth with 3 games to go, you had a pretty damn good season, man. So kind of cool.
I see. I got confused. When I first read that, when I was looking at it, I thought it meant like San Francisco and LA had to end in a tie. It's like, man, I guess it's could clinch season, but we are walking a line right there.
Yeah. I think it says an Atlanta loss or
an Atlanta loss or tie. Gotcha.
Yeah. So you notice I just steered clear of the San Francisco LA Rams tie thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Just walk away from it. Yeah.
Let's focus on Green Bay getting a win and Atlanta losing. We're in the playoffs, right? So,
yeah. Super Bowl winning GM, right?
Exactly right. Super Bowl winning GM Terry Fontenot, as Michael Lombardi refers to him. So, all right, so just wanted to hit on that real quick, and let's see. I think I had something else here. Oh yeah, this was interesting. Let's make fun of the Bears here for just a second. That good with you guys? And I want the chat to try to help me here. I asked on Twitter for someone to confirm this. I put Dayum. All right, that's Dayum. Is this really Rome Odunze's father trashing Caleb Williams in the organization? So check this out, guys. We're going to click on it here. Black Mike Dicka on Twitter. You got to love it. Look at that shit. I love Twitter, boys. I'm just telling you, I'm hooked on it. I just think it's awesome. He tweeted out and said, Rome Odunze would have 1,100 yards on any other NFC North team. And James Odunze, if this is truly Rome Odunze's father, said 1,500. All right, so sounds like there's trouble in paradise up there in the or down there from your all's perspective, Tim, in the Windy City. What do you guys think about that, man? I'm just glad that we don't have anybody's family members on Packers Twitter. If anything, they defend the players constantly, right? You see, like Christian Watson's dad defending Jordan Love. You see him defending Scoot, right? And this. To have someone's father, if this is his father, and again, someone confirmed. Yep, here we go. Drew D in the chat confirmed. Sports Illustrated covered it. So, man, interesting. You guys have the floor. What do you think about that? I don't mean to laugh.
All I have to say is
the Bears still suck.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is the fact that I'm glad we don't have to deal with a dad trying to buy stock in the team, and then a dad also cutting on our offense, not moving the ball around and dishing the rock, and especially the fact that we have you've run the numbers. What is it? A number 2. We have a solid number 2, a couple number 3s. I mean, it's not even
We've got 2. Actually, we've got 2 solid number 2s,
2 2s,
a good 3, and
edge
actually.
4.
Yeah, a good 3 and a probably about an average 4.
I'll take that. I mean, in Rome's the 3rd there, so
yeah.
I could see it. I definitely could see it, and the fact that it is his dad is even worse. I mean, that's just not something you want to get into, and you already have to worry about enough of the players saying something or doing something on their own Twitter. Then you got to worry about the family too. It's like, how far do you got to chase that out?
Yeah, definitely. And let's see here. Jason Y in the chat says, I thought the Bears GM said they were going to take the North and not give it back. Oh, boy.
Sit your butt outside.
That's right, Ryan Poles. Sorry about it. Hate to hear it, bub. Not working out the way you planned, huh? That's a shame. That's a real shame. In the meantime, think about bear down. Think about this, guys. As that's going on in Chicago, right? You got a wide receiver's dad basically saying Caleb Williams is a bum and their offense sucks, right? Look at what's going on in Green Bay right here. Rob Demoski tweeted out, Jordan Love and several of his Packer teammates surprised 8 kids from the Better Days Mentoring Organization for a holiday shopping night at Dick's Sporting Goods today. Each one received $300 shopping spree. Let's check it out here.
You guys for coming out. Thank you to Dick's for helping us out with this. I think it's going to be a pretty cool experience for you guys. You shop with me and my teammates here. Brought a bunch of the Packer players out. So,
Guess what?
Apple Watch.
Guess what?
Where's
I'm gonna be a football player just like
Okay.
Here we go.
Is that your song?
Here we go.
Here we go.
That's that love shirt.
I'm gonna grow into it. This is all for free. Like literally.
Yes, it is. That's too much.
I like how little man said, "I'll grow into it." That's a frugal, smart shopper right there. He said, "I'm gonna go ahead and buy this a size big. I'll grow into it."
Let me get the XL, please, Jordan. Can you sign this on the way out? Because I'm growing into this by the time I hit high school.
I love it.
My favorite part, though, he turned around with that Jordan Love shirt. Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh man, he knew he hit the jackpot. There he is. Love it, dude. That's still
Bob too. He knew it. He knew it.
We need to get that as a drop, and we'll zoom in, just him going, "Here we go." Here we go.
He came over there and was like,
"Here's the guy."
That's exactly right. Oh man, I love it, dude. That type of stuff and this time of the year really gets me fired up, man. I just think it's awesome. So, all right, let's start this deep dive here. Actually, before we do that, let's hit the playoff picture real quick. I know we kind of hit on it just now, just a second, but we want to keep our finger on the pulse as we continue to move forward to the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Here's the current playoff picture. All right. AFC, the 1 seed is the Kansas City Chiefs, the 2 seed Buffalo Bills, 3 seed Pittsburgh Steelers, 4 seed is the Houston Texans, 5 seed the Baltimore Ravens, 6 is the LA Chargers, the 7 is the Denver Broncos. Okay. Let's move over to the NFC. The number 1 seed, the 12-1 Detroit Lions. The number 2 seed is the 11-2 Philadelphia Eagles. The 3 seed is the 8-5 Seattle Seahawks, who we are playing this week on the road. The number 4 seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just stole that number 4 seed away from the Atlanta Falcons, who now drop out of the playoffs as it currently sits. And the number 5 seed, you've got the 11-2 Vikings, who are absolutely humming right now. The 6 seed, of course, is the Green Bay Packers at 9-4, and the 7 seed is the Washington Commanders at 8-5. It's pretty darn cool, guys, that we're going to Seattle this week to play the Seattle Seahawks, and then we may turn right around and play them again here in a few weeks in the playoffs. Pretty neat. What do you guys think about the playoff picture? Anything you want to add there?
I think the game against Seattle is going to be a great tune-up. I really do. Another tough road environment, much like Detroit. A team that I think we would all agree Seattle is probably slightly better than their record indicates. I don't think they're a pushover. I also don't think this is an opponent we should be afraid of. But this is what you're looking for here, grinding out your season, man. This will be a good tune-up. playoff type atmosphere. And yeah, like you said, man, for all we know, we'll be seeing them in a few weeks again, playing in the NFC playoffs. So I think it's great. I liked how the schedule is kind of rounded out. We got a couple divisionals to close out the year, but we got to handle business here on the road in Seattle for sure, coming off this Detroit loss. So I think it's a good tune-up.
Yeah,
I think it has to be. With them, with them having to travel, it's going to have to happen again. It's if we play them in the playoffs, you're going to have to hop right back on the plane. So whatever your preparation is this week, put it in the back of your head because you might need to use it again. And I think the only issue I see is having to beat a team twice, even though it's not, it's not a divisional opponent. Going in and beating a team twice is tough, especially, back to back within a month period, probably. So that's my only worry. But I think that I would rather play at Seattle than, at Tampa or at Philly. So I'm pretty happy with kind of where we're nestled right now.
Yeah. I do too, man. I think we're in a good spot. And again, all you got to do is stamp your ticket to the show, to the dance there, and anything can happen. Let's go to the chat. Rel in the chat said we need the Vikings to lose at least one more divisional game. And if we win out, we can snag the 5th seed. So that's kind of what's on the table there. Jason Y said, I can totally see Baker taking down the Vikings. If that was the matchup right here, I'm with Jason. I could see Baker Mayfield knocking off the Vikings at 11-2, especially them having to go to Tampa, right? And be on the road because we know Minnesota plays pretty well at home. At least it seems like they do.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Go ahead, Emilio.
No, I was just thinking that's why I'm saying I'd rather stay nestled right here against Seattle because Baker is unpredictable. Like we could beat him. We also could get worked by him, I feel like. And I really don't want to go play the Eagles right now. We can worry about that later. Let's just kind of get there first, see who's going to be the worst, because we might need to go up and play the Lions and, not even need to play the Eagles. So I'm really happy with where we're at right now. I think we just need to win out and kind of keep hammering along.
Yeah. Rel in the chat says we can be either a 5th seed or at best, a 5th seed at best or a 7th at worst. To me, it feels like we've got a legit shot at the 5 seed. I believe that. But it's kind of feeling like we're going to settle in at that 6th seed if I had to put money on it, right? Probably
things could be a lot worse. I could be a Bears fan.
You could shuffle a little bit. You could rise for a week or two. You could drop for a week or two. But I could see them settling at the 6. But we'll see, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Drew D says Seattle has one of the best home field advantages in the NFL. Amen to that, man. The 12th man they do not play games up there, man. They're all about it. 2-0 for this in the chat said, I want the Lions in the playoffs so bad. Let's go around the horn with that. I completely agree. Give me a 3rd shot at the Lions, especially with the way the officials played a big role in that game. Come on.
Yep. That's exactly how I feel, Tim. Thank you, because that's all this team needs is just one more thing to get them fired up. Especially we're playing for the playoffs, a young team fired up. They beat you twice. You see them putting the brooms everywhere. That's all the Lions talk about is that and their one banner they hung up in the building. And then now they're over here just running their mouths. I think you want them back 100%. I'd rather play Seattle, and whatever happens with Tampa and Vikings, go play the Eagles, and we'll go handle the Lions.
Yep, I'm co-signing that. I think we do to Detroit what we did to Dallas last year in the playoffs. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, really would, man. Let's see. Biz 1987. Try to stay in the 5 or 6 spot to get past the wild card week. Then it doesn't matter if you face the Lions or the Eagles, in my opinion. I agree. If you have to, whether it's the Lions or the Eagles you're facing, those are the 2 best teams in the NFC, in my opinion. It's going to be a tough game either way. When you look at kind of the outcome of the games, obviously it took the Lions all the way down to the very last play of the game and a whole bunch of really, really close referee calls and decisions for them to beat us by 3 points with no time left. And then if I remember correctly, the Eagles, what did they win by? What was it? It was less than a touchdown, wasn't it? If I remember correctly. Yeah. Let me pull that up real quick.
I'm pretty sure the Lions have only won to the NFC North teams by 8 points. Like the past 3 NFC North games, the Lions won by less than 8 points or some crazy stat like that.
Yep. Yeah, and against the Eagles in week 1. And listen, guys, that might as well have been 2 seasons ago. I get it. Teams change so much throughout the course of a season, but they only beat us by 5 points. And we, both teams had to travel. I'm not saying that they had any kind of advantage over us, but we know things are a lot different when you have to travel internationally. And if you were to say, which would you rather have trying to get your mind right for an international game, the younger team or the older team. I'm probably going with the older team because they're going to know how to handle that a little bit more. They've had more experience maybe going across the pond to play in England or Germany, what have you. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I think we got a shot. I think we got a shot at either of these teams. Again, Detroit beat us by 3 points. Philly beat us by 5. All it takes is 1 or 2 explosive plays at the right moment. An interception or a ball bouncing, or like Christian Watson, that fumble on the sideline, that very well could happen to an A.J. Brown, or it could happen to an Amon-Ra St. Brown. And next thing you know, that score is just flipped. All it takes is just getting hot at the right moment. There's no two ways about that. So,
it's so true. I mean, how many times do you see plays like that one you're talking about where he just fumbles it out of bounds and we don't even worry about it? It just
had it in the right hand too, right? Had it in the right.
Had it to the outside hand. It's just one of those things. I like what his pop said. Papa Scoot was on his pod talking about that, and he said, Christian wasn't going high and trying to hurdle to get extra yards. He was trying to avoid his knee getting blown out by these dirty ass Detroit Lions defenders. That was his position, and I thought it was great. It's just one of those fluke plays. I don't even really put that on Scoot. I don't think he was being reckless there. He was just trying to protect himself and make a play.
Yeah. I agree. All right, let's see. 2-0 for this says Packers, Bills, book it. Boy, that would be a fun. The 2 smallest markets in the league.
Oh, man, I can see Roger Goodell's head exploding right now.
Dude, that would be absolutely awesome. That would be so cool, man. To have the Green Bay Packers and the Buffalo Bills playing in the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Bills having never won one, so much on the line there. And the Packers having an opportunity to be one of, if not the youngest teams in the league to win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Shoo-wee. That would be – how do you think we would match up against the Buffalo Bills? Think about this. Think of the important aspects of the game, right? When you talk turnover differential, we're definitely protecting the ball a lot better now than we were 3-4 weeks ago, right? We're starting to get that under control, especially at the quarterback position. Josh Allen, on the other hand, he's just a big play waiting to happen, obviously, but he'll also turn the ball over and make stupid decisions from time to time. You've seen it the other night, basically not knowing, hey, we've got 2 or 3 plays to pick up a chunk of 15. And instead, he's trying to get it all in one play. Next thing you know, they lose the ball game. So what do you guys think about that? Bills, Packers, how would you feel about that matchup if it did come down to the Super Bowl?
What do you got, Tim?
I probably feel better about that matchup than a couple other ones. I would say this: the Josh Allen factor is legit, like you said, Clay. I mean, with the guy, he rushed for 3 and threw for 3 the other night or whatever it was. I mean,
passed one to himself.
The guy's a walking scoring threat, So that's certainly something we'd have to account for defensively. I do think our offense against their defense matches up relatively well, and I think we could certainly put some points on the board, and it would be an entertaining Super Bowl to say the least. But we all know the league's not going to let anyone out of the AFC except for the Chiefs, so we might chalk that one up right now. Unless we get an upset, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I used to always tell my Bills buddies, what's it stand for? Boy, I love losing Super Bowls. But besides that, I mean, I do like them, but they're frustrating sometimes because Michael Lombardi was talking about how they're really a nickel defense. They're super light. He said they only have one guy over 330 pounds. So being up in the cold, being, able to stop a run, stop all that, I think we could really churn Josh Jacobs out on them. And also they're kind of light on the offense as well. They're trying to run those 2 tight end sets, but that's not always working for them. And, you bring in, older receivers, things like that. So they're trying to put it all together because Josh Allen's in his window, I would say for sure. And it would be a battle. And I think it would really be a good game, but I'd have to pick the Pack. I think we could run them out of it.
Oh. That's a great point when you talk about matching up against the Bills. It's a great point. Let's see here. John in the chat says Dan Campbell is a sideline puppet. Ben Johnson runs that offense. A freaking man. And listen, Ben Johnson going to be gone after this year, boys.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to see how the the Detroit Lions respond to that. Because that's one thing they have not had to deal with yet. I think there's a decent chance that Aaron Glenn will be gone as well.
I think so too. Have you heard him talk in his presser? I was going through, there was a YouTube short of like him talking about Jordan Love and he, like the way he carries himself, the way he talks about it, gave Matt LaFleur a lot of props. I mean,
he's
going somewhere for sure.
Yeah, I like him a lot. You could tell his players respect the hell out of him on that defense, man. I mean, look at what he's doing with all those backups, right?
Right.
And what he's still accomplishing. And I know we scored 30 points on him, right? Not many people are talking about that right now. But again, the name of the game is to win the game and do what you got to do at the end to put yourself in a position to do that. And he did that. There's no doubt. Let's see. Your Biz in the chat says, bring it, Bills versus Packers, anybody but the Chiefs. We know with the Chiefs, boys, it's not just the Chiefs you play. My God, man, there was 3 holds on that one quarterback scramble on 2nd and 8 the other night. I was screaming at the TV like, how do they keep getting away with this, man? This is unfreaking believable. And it's literally they froze the frame during the replay, and the announcers got quiet and didn't say a damn thing about it. So they were just like, yeah, let's just keep talking, right? Here's a guy. That's all they got. That's all they got. So, Bill, anybody but the Chiefs, because, again, it's so difficult to beat the Chiefs with the way that's officiated. Right. I really do think the Chiefs and the Lions, they've got something right now where it's just like they seem to get all of the calls right now. It's really, really strange to me, but at the same time, maybe it's how their coaching staff is prepping the officials. That's a real thing. And if you're constantly a coach that's just bitching at the refs and never buttering them up, never praising them, never giving them tape for the next game, I could see, let me put it this way, and I'm not trying to dog Matt LaFleur. You guys know how I feel about Matt LaFleur. He's he's a top 10 winningest coach of all time in terms of winning percentage, right? He's right there. If he fell out of the top 10, he's right there on the cusp of being inside the top 10. But I could see him being that guy, like, I don't care about the officials. I'm just going to coach. I'm going to go for it, And I'm telling you, man, it's a huge, huge deal when it comes to making sure you're getting at least your portion of the calls to go your way. That's why I'm going to continue to use Twitter the way I use it. I mean, we were putting out tweets showing those penalties, and I know some fans, and they'll remain nameless because they're absolutely miserable people. It's just, stop complaining about the man up. We got our ass kicked. It's like, you have no clue what we're doing as a fan base to try to shed light on, look, if they're going to continue to get these calls, we're going to get loud and show, look, you got every single call in your favor. And I'm telling you, you tag in the NFL officiating and you raise an awareness for that, it makes a freaking difference. You can bet your ass that these officials meeting with league officials every week as they're getting ready for the next slate of games. Hey, guys, got to watch how you call this one. The heat is on us right now, right? They got a lot of eyeballs on us. That stuff freaking matters. And when we're throwing tweets out, that's literally getting over I think it was like 1.2 million views, you're making headway. One of the tweets I put out, and it's not me, it's just simply, here's what happened. I didn't do anything special. Anybody with 2 brain cells that rub together can put a tweet up like that. But it's the Packer fans coming in and going, yep, here you go. Look, be aware of it. I'm telling you, it matters.
Yeah, the only recourse we have with the officials is to get them reviewed and get them suspended. They don't find officials for terrible calls or not calling penalties, but they can be reviewed and they can get hauled into a league office and the crew can be suspended, and then we don't have to see them on the field. So the more noise you make, the better,
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
I wouldn't see a better week right now than to do that, Tim. Let's just fire them all, get some replacement refs up in Seattle, and just
no.
Wait a minute. Go to work, man.
Wait a minute. Well, last time that happened, we had Russell Wilson throwing the only game-winning interception in NFL history. So no, we don't want replacement refs at all. No, thank you.
Man, I was going to pull up a quote here. It's from Bobby Dillon. I don't have the exact quote, but I'll paraphrase. Many people don't know that Bobby Dillon, one of the interception leaders for the Packers organization, he was blind in one eye. And they said one day somebody asked him, one of the officials asked him, like, are you really blind in one eye? He said, yeah, I am. Like, what are you going to do if you lose the other one? He said, I'm going to become an official.
Oh, we're going to give him some.
Another one, too, I'm trying to think of what the quote. It was Norm Van Brocklin. So this is way back in the day. I heard this on an old Steve Sable NFL films from like the 70s or the 80s. And they said that, back then officials didn't make the $200,000 they make now. We just found that out the other day because listeners were pointing that out. And one of the officials had passed away, and his family wasn't prepared to withstand the funeral costs and all this and that. So the league was taking up money for him. And Norm Van Brocklin, being the great human being he is, they asked him, they said, hey, so-and-so, he was an official. Would you like to donate? He said, we're just asking everybody throw in $10. It was something like that back in the day. And he said, here's 20, bury 2 of the SOBs. Dang. So Norm Van Brocklin, though, if you guys don't know, John Madden, when he was a rookie offensive lineman with Philadelphia, his earliest stage of learning the game at the NFL level was watching film with Norm Van Brocklin. He said he used to sit in the back of the room and he'd be watching film, and Norm Van Brocklin called him Red. And he said he caught me in the back one day. He was like, hey, Red, come up here and watch this. And he said, I learned more about football, him just pointing little things out, right? What they call him, something Dutchman or something like that. So, but he was a fiery dude, man, fiery dude to play the quarterback position back in the day when you had to be tough. There was no flopping back then, that's for sure. But that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all.